It's a story we hear too often. Now, imagine a man from 1830 facing a Rocky Mountain blizzard at 40 below with nothing but animal skins and a flintlock rifle. By all modern logic, he should perish. Yet he survives. How did these mountain men master an environment that so often defeats us? They understood that survival wasn't about gear, but about knowledge. They knew cold was a predator that attacked in four ways: conduction, convection, radiation, and evaporation. And they developed a sophisticated system to defeat every single one. But this knowledge was paid for in blood. For every man who mastered the cold, countless others vanished into the snow. My name is Sam, and this is Wild America. Part 1. The Four Killers. The mountain man's war against cold was fought on four fronts. He didn't know the scientific terms, but he knew the killers intimately. First was conduction, the direct theft of heat through contact. He knew that sitting on a cold rock or lying on frozen ground was a direct pipeline for his precious body heat to be sucked away. The ground was a heat sink, a frozen thief that would never be satisfied. His first act in camp was always to create a barrier, a thick bed of pine boughs, dry leaves, or grasses, often a foot or more thick. This wasn't for comfort. It was a life-saving layer of trapped air, his shield against the conductive cold. His buffalo robe, a portable piece of insulation with its dense, woolly undercoat, served the same purpose. A single buffalo robe, properly tanned and cured, could weigh 40 pounds and contained thousands of individual hairs, each one creating a tiny pocket of insulating air. He never underestimated the relentless conductive power of the frozen earth. He knew that a man could freeze to death from below even if his upper body was warm. Next came convection, the thief that rides the wind. Every gust that penetrated his clothing stripped away the thin, warm layer of air his body worked so hard to create. Wind chill was not a concept he knew by name, but he understood its brutal reality. At 40 below, with a 20-mile-per-hour wind, the effective temperature drops to 70 below. At that temperature, exposed skin freezes in minutes. To combat this, he relied on a windproof outer layer, often a buckskin shirt or a heavy wool capote. Unlike modern breathable fabrics that can fail in high winds, the dense grain of brain-tanned leather was a near impenetrable barrier. The tanning process, using the animal's own brains mixed with water, created a supple yet tough material that could flex with his movements while blocking the wind. He chose his campsite to break the wind, seeking the shelter of a rock outcropping, a dense standing tree.
Brain to break the wind.
He was always thinking about how to create a pocket of still air around his body, a calm harbor in a sea of wind. Third was radiation, the silent, invisible drain of heat into the vast, cold emptiness of the winter sky. Even on a still night, an uncovered head or exposed hands would radiate heat away from the body. The mountain man's wool or fur cap was not a fashion statement. It was a critical piece of heat retention gear. He knew that an uncovered head was a chimney for body heat. Medical studies today confirm that up to 40% of body heat can be lost through an uncovered head in cold conditions. He wore his hat to bed, pulling his buffalo robe over his head as he slept, plugging every potential leak with obsessive care. He understood that heat, like water, will always flow from a higher concentration to a lower one, and the cold, empty sky was a vacuum, always pulling, always taking. On a clear, cold night, the temperature could drop 20 degrees or more as heat radiated into space. He knew this, and he prepared for it. Finally, there was evaporation, the most insidious killer. The mountain man knew that sweat was a death sentence in winter. That moisture was the cold's greatest ally. Water evaporating from the skin carries away heat 25 100% of its insulating properties. He knew the trapper's saying, "Cotton kills." A sweaty cotton shirt was a cold, clammy shroud that would suck the life out of it. Cotton, when wet, loses all its insulating value and actually conducts heat away from the body. This forefront war against the cold was the central organizing principle of his winter life. Every piece of gear, every action was a calculated move in this deadly game. Comment conduction if you've ever felt the cold steal your heat to the ground. Part 2. The living layering system. The mountain man's clothing was an adaptable system